So hey guys, I think just for time conscious, this video will be up on YouTube, right? So probably that will help people that are not here right now to get accustomed to it. Once again, my name is Ben. Hi Gbadamosi, congratulations once again for winning. Apparently, you did a couple of things right, and those are some of the things that really touch in this conversation, because that's what's important, especially coming into the NFT space, doing the things right. It's not necessarily about being the best artist, right? It's not necessarily about being the most talented artist. It's just about doing the best things right. So welcome everyone, welcome. We're going to get started. And yeah, so we basically have an itinerary for today, right? And it's going to go step by step in that manner. I'll probably be sharing the screen to get started. So the first thing you're going to understand, right, is that if we're looking at NFTs here, right? So as an artist, depending on what you're doing, maybe you've probably been designing your work, doing paintings, but a new space has come in, right? It has presented a new opportunity for each and every artist present, so, and that is so important, right? Is that every artist now can sort of reach a global audience with their work being verified for its authenticity. And that is what NFTs really are. So non-fungible tokens are just one-of-a-kind tokens. And basically, there's so many one-of-a-kind assets that can be brought on chain. One of the biggest examples, right, is the artwork. So as an artist, your work is one of a kind. When you create something, even if you create something that looks like it, it will not be the exact replica, right? So it's a one-of-a-kind piece. And basically what we do with that one-of-a-kind piece is that we take it on the blockchain and tokenize it. And when you tokenize an asset like that, it means what you sort of do is that you verify its authenticity, because the blockchain is accessible to everyone and everybody. So you're basically verifying its authenticity, and also enabling the core importance of digital ownership. So anybody who owns that piece of art owns the original, the authentic artwork. So basically all we're doing is taking tokenized assets on chain. That's like one of the simplest ways to really define NFT. So if you've been in the space for a while, right, you must have been hearing OpenSea, CryptoPunks, and a whole lot of just artworks going for quite outrageous prices, right? And so for yourself as an artist, you want to look at that opportunity and understand that it is, it can happen to you and for you, right? You can create wonderful work, wonderful artwork, and you have access to a global audience. Welcome everybody again. This is Benifits. I'm fully doxed. People know who I am unlike the space. And here we're just going through the first step, right? Before we go deep diving into practical work, I just want you guys, if you're not accustomed, to get accustomed with non-fungible tokens. And there's several ways you can sort of, list your artwork on the blockchain. You can, and there's so many marketplaces, there's so many blockchains. There's the Ethereum blockchain, there's Tezos blockchain, but today we're going to be focusing on Solana, simply because of certain benefits it has. And to get started, I want to sort of address the benefits here, right? So Solana is it's pretty much new compared to the others like Ethereum. But what it has a vibrant community. There are no gas fees, meaning that your collectors can get your art for zero to negligible transaction fees. And you can also upload your art for zero to negligible transaction fees. So that is very important in terms of getting your work accessible to a global audience, right? So these are some of the benefits of using the Solana blockchain. It also has fast transactions. But to get started, how would you mint your NFT on this platform? What are the things you would have to do, right? So if you're here now, the first stage we're going to go through is pretty much Phantom wallets. For preference, there are other wallets, right? There's so many other wallets. There's Slope, there's, both the preferred wallet, just because of user experience, if you look at it, this is the phantom.app, you know, and I make emphasis on the spelling and the URL because, you know, there's so many scams and hackers here. So you always want to click the right URL. And what you can see, right, this is a Solana-based wallet. If you're familiar with other chains, you know, they all have their own specific wallet. So this is a Solana-based wallet. It's phantom.app. And basically, it's a browser-based wallet. There's no mobile app yet. So what you're going to be doing is that if you have a laptop or a system, you're going to be installing this on your laptop and your system. And so basically, you can just go through it, check out the features, check out everything and everything you're doing. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Everything is there. It works on a couple of browsers. You have Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, Brave, Edge, depending on your preference, right? And so what you're going to do, right, is click on Add to Chrome. So when you click on Add to Chrome, you know, when you click on Add to Chrome, it comes up as an extension. Then you download. It's already downloaded, right? So I don't know if is anybody here? Is everybody here? If you have a question now, you can ask. So what you have here, right? It's, you know, you get it. It's a Chrome, it's an extension browser. You get it on your laptop, and if you sort of click on the top right corner, you know, you see where your extensions are. So I'm going to pin this so that I don't always have to come here. And you basically have your Phantom wallet. So let me click on it, and I'm just going to enter this. Hopefully this wallet has nothing to, okay, so yeah. This is an easy wallet. It's, you know, so this is how the wallet sort of pops up, right? You know, you have this look, and this is where NFTs are stored. So this is like where you store all your NFTs. You have a couple of, these are just one-of-ones that are to be sent out to a couple of members within the, but you know, this is how it sort of, you know, appears. You know, it's a very mobile-friendly wallet. You know, you have your Solana, you know, you can have other Solana-based cryptocurrencies, but, you know, we're not going to talk too much about that. We're focusing on NFTs. And yeah, so depending on the country you're in, right? Because even getting started, you will need a bit of Solana to sort of mint your artwork. You know, might not be too much. It could be just this amount, right? Depending on the number that you're minting, or it could be about $5 to $10. And what you can do with that, right? If you're depending on the country you're in, if you're in Nigeria, you could use an exchange like Binance. If you're in South Africa, you could use Luno. You know, then move things to Coinbase. Depending on where you are, you know, if you're in the States, you could use Coinbase as well. And what you want to do is buy Solana. Then you want to copy this address and, you know, send a bit of Solana from that exchange to this wallet. So basically, this is how you set up your Solana wallet, your Solana wallet, the Phantom.app wallet. And the reason for setting this up is that this will help you in terms of like listing your artwork, setting up other things that you need moving forward. And like earlier on, I sort of spoke about, you know, Solana and its advantages to you as an NFT artist. And so, like I said, a couple of things, right? With Solana, you know, there are no gas fees. So like you're minting at almost zero to negligible fees. And as an artist, that is probably good for some of your collectors, especially if you have new collectors coming into the space, right? So if you're trying to get new people who, you know, like, you know, fancy your work, and you can get them, oh, like I'll send you a physical copy, but I would like you to also own the digital copy. This is just to verify that you are the owner of the authentic copy, right? You know, so if you're trying to onboard collectors into the space as well, it will probably, you know, be something that they like, you know, knowing that they don't have to pay an extra $200 or $300 in transaction fees without collecting the artwork. So on Solana, and it's not necessarily new, but the NFT scene really just, you know, sort of came up like August. Like if we're talking about the NFT scene in Solana, it's pretty much August. It came up with the DJ and Eve Academy, meaning that you can become a thought leader in terms of your art in this space before it becomes saturated, like maybe other blockchains. So you want to take advantage of that, especially in terms of one-to-one artists, because we don't even have as many of that on chain right now. We have very few. So imagine owning that presence and, you know, like being able to like have a community of people that know that this is what you're known for within this space. You know, like I said earlier, you always want to work, you always want to like present yourself where there's low competition but high demand. So meaning that, you know, you don't have a whole lot of people competing with your artwork, and there's, you know, pretty much demand for your pieces. So yeah, so those are like a couple of things, right? Those are a couple of things. Those are like a couple of things, right? And the next bit is
I think you got on mute, Vin. Let's give a second for Vin to come back.
hey guys, sirs, I'm back. Back like I never left. So now, like a couple of things I want to share, right, is understanding this space as an NFT artist. So it's different from traditional sales, right? It's a whole lot different from how you approach customers and how you sell things. So you want to think about, you know, what is the best way to really approach this space, and a couple of things, right? And I'll share an example of why the winners that won. If you notice, there was a popular vote, right? But the final three was going to be decided by the community. You know, that was always in the, you know, like everything that was shared. But the final three was always going to be decided by the community. And what that means, right, is that if if your art was really good, like it was standard, right? But if you were also present within the community, you know, we are more likely to be picked. You know, it's not a conversation of the art now. It's a conversation of, I like your art. I've met you. You know, we've had a discussion, and yeah, like I'd rather like pick you because I can relate with you. So as an artist, you're not just selling art, right? You're selling a whole lot more. You're selling access. You're selling, you know, a bit of friendship. You know, and you should always think about that when you're creating. You know, especially in this space, you're not necessarily just, you know, like, because to be honest, there's a whole lot of talented digital artists out there. And if I'm being honest, you are not special. Maybe you are, but like in this space, you're not special. What makes you different is how you approach the community with your art. Like that's a differentiating factor. And I noticed somebody did this very well, right? You know, Toby, and for some reason, you know, he was very active, you know, like he even got people to join a clan. And so these are some of the things that you always want to think about. And there's several ways to go about it, not necessarily within the Afrobubble community, but you personally as an individual, right? Is that you want to be able to create spaces, join communities, whereby you make friends, you talk about what you're doing, you know, you sort of blend, you sort of approach the market, because that's where you find the best collectors, people that can relate to your story and can relate to your art. And as a one-to-one artist, where your approach to the market is less utility, then this is how you really want to think about it. You want to like focus on the community, on the friendships, on just how to really get into the space, then also give back, right? And so as you begin to like, you know, maybe get, you know, just get a bit of fortune within the space, you want to learn how to give back and empower more people. It's always a good site to be able to empower more people within what you do. So that's very important, guys. If there's anything you don't take from here, apart from the practicalities, understanding the approach towards community, because those are the people that will buy your art. You know, those are the people you go into. You share a bit about yourself. You know, you tell people why you join the conversations you can relate to, and you're not necessarily like going to every room, right? Because you as an artist, you also want to know the type of people that will collect your work, right? So when you go to maybe it could be a Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse, right? And when you can listen to the conversation of what they're doing, if you feel like you can join with that conversation, you can add to that conversation, you can be a part of that sense of community because you like the dialogue. And you know, with time, you know, when you're doing your launch party, your one-of-ones, you can get a couple of people like to join in. And you know, from there you get your first buy, you get your first sale. And I've seen this happen several times in several rooms on on Twitter Spaces. I'm very familiar with one guy, SK Arts. And, he recently sold his work on Solana to a couple of guys in a channel called The Forum. It's always hosted on a couple of Solana guys. So know your customer, know how to approach the market, know how to sort of get together. And if you can't do that yourself, right, which is good, have a friend that can always sort of, push you up and help you. That will go a long way. So I want to go next a bit of practicality. So if you've set up your Phantom wallet, right, the next thing we're going to talk about is Holaplex. Holaplex.com. Think about Shopify, but for NFT artists on Solana. It is really one of the easiest ways for you to set up your personal store. And the importance of this, right, is that you sort of control how you list your work and how you sell it. You're not dependent on, so like you can also list on marketplaces, but this is, dependent on you. Right? This is, for you. It's like having your own store whereby you can have a link and tell people, if you want my work, go to my store. So I'm going to create a store now. So when you click create your store, it's going to ask you to connect your wallet. So, we talked about setting up your Phantom wallet. So at this point, you should have a Phantom wallet. Right? So you just connect. So you give it a name, right? So I'm going to name this ben.holaplex.com. Who knows? I'm going to be an amazing one-of-one artist. You want to upload a banner, upload a logo. Banner isn't compulsory, logo is. Go through your files, right? For me, I'm just gonna I'm gonna put a bug, right? I'm just gonna put something up there. I'm looking for what to put. Yeah, I'm gonna put Gary. Let me put it. So you see, like when you're doing this, a pop-up comes up to your Phantom. You need to approve, and you can play around with the background, right? Depending on what you like. If you like white spaces, depending on what. I love orange. I love purple. Purple is literally the color. Yeah. You can change the font. Montserrat is always my favorite. I don't know. I just like it. Your preference is yours, right? And after that, you click next. So you can set up a fave icon as well. A fave icon is a 512 by 512 icon of your logo. For practical purposes, I'm just gonna put anything here. But for you, you could have something that really works for you. And page side too. I'm gonna say welcome to the magic of the wizard. Depending on you, you can do anything. Where my NFT. Chilling on the Solana. So, and then you submit, right? And this is really just a simple process of setting up your Holaplex store. So the next thing I do is visit ben.holaplex.com. So you can see my site, I've got a new site, guys. I'm about to sell NFTs, one-of-one. So you have the ben.holaplex.com. You can see that's a fave icon there. It's loading. Let's wait till it gets loaded. So it's attached to that Phantom wallet, right? It's attached to that Phantom wallet. Yeah, so you'll have to go through a couple of things, right? Store is not initialized yet. There must be some soul in your wallet. So you need to initialize your store as the owner of the store. So, just click through the process, right? Yeah, so basically, like this always pops up every time you're doing something on the Holaplex store if you need to connect your wallet. So you can see it's going to cost me about minus 0.003 SOL to initialize this transaction. So I've approved it. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully it works. I still have about 55 cents. If that doesn't go, I'll probably have to top up a bit. Hopefully that went. When you set up your Holaplex, this is the admin space. You can see your wallet. You'll be the authority for everything you're creating. And the good thing about Holaplex, right, is that it doesn't have to be just you. So you can step in as a curator and add other creators. So if you had other friends that, and you probably couldn't get them through this process, or you feel like, you're more outspoken and you could probably help your friends sell their own digital art, you can add other creators. And by doing that, you put in new addresses and whatnot, and the list, you do that, you submit. So, but this is your admin channel, listing, notifications, actions. This is just where almost everything sort of pops up. So if you click on your wallet, right, you have add funds, disconnect, create. If you click on listings, you sort of see what is listed. If you have nothing there, there'll be nothing listed. The artists are like, the what do they call them? Your ID. Your wallet ID, you could get more artists like we showed in admin. Always check your spelling, guys. So maximum supply, just one. Oh, sorry about that, guys. The light will come back on. This is Nigeria. Thank you. Let's just wait a bit for the light to come back on. So here you have attributes, right? So every NFT has its own metadata. Every single NFT, and metadata is just the description of the art that is put on the web, and for in our cases on the blockchain. So how do you describe this? So for you as an artist, you can decide to just depending on what you want to describe it, it's up to you. And this is more important for really collection. So if you have a 10 of 10 collection or like a 100 of 100 collection, and they all enter a certain attribute. So for instance, and if you look at the Afrobubble collection, you have like certain attributes like Washasha clan and what earring they are wearing, background, and things like that. So for this, we're going to like maybe just look at a couple of attributes, right? So like the background. So I'm going to call the background the red hello. You don't have to add the display type, not too important. Okay, the background, guys. So for the skin type, or clan type, I could just put clan type. This is most likely Washasha, according to me. Like it could be anything, right? Like I add more attributes. Maybe I want to talk about his head, yeah. What does he have on his head? A little beanie, and yeah, like his look, maybe his look, maybe just, he looks buzzed. So I'll just add buzzed. And after that, I continue to royalties. Now, as an artist, this is where it's important for you, right? Because what happens on the blockchain, right, is that when people buy your artwork, if they want to resell it, they get to pay you royalty. So you want to, if it's going to be on a marketplace or anything, like as long as they sell it. So if you sell it for $1 million, guys, you get $100,000 coming into your wallet. So, but then you can decide what the royalties will be, right? So whether you want 10%, you want to just be collecting 5%, 10%, 20%, but that's also dependent on you, right? Because it's also important to think about the collector as well. What might be also fair to them? Like if I say 100% of the royalty comes to me, literally means that, anytime they buy it, all the money comes to me. And then what you can do if you're collaborating, right, with anybody, you can add another creator. You add their wallet address. And what you can do is split the royalty. So you can say, oh, this person I get 45%, or if you're two and it's 50-50, you can do, oh, let's say, so imagine Ella and Zeus wanted to work on a collection together, right? And they also own like a store, and they, so what they can do is add both themselves as creator, and what they do, 50%, 50%. So you're going to get money for the initial sale. Like, so if they buy the artwork for like $1,000, each person is going to get 500. Then every time it's resold, the 10% value will be automatically split to two accounts. And this is the magic of smart contracts, right? Is that you don't need anybody, you don't need to be in an argument with anybody that, hey guys, where's my money? You know, I work together with you. Why don't I have mine? You know, that does, you know, that's not happening here, right? So you go and you continue to review. So as I say, it's going to cost me $1.38. So guys, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I want to send a bit of Solana to this wallet. So just for, you know, personal safety and purposes, I'm going to pause my screen just to send a bit of Solana to this wallet. I'll be back in a second, guys. Yeah, and we're back here. So what I'm going to do is, you know, I've set up my royalties, I've set up my metadata, put my name. So now I'm going to pay with Sol. I think the Solana in my wallet. Yeah, so we're waiting for final confirmation. And once we do that, we'll have our NFT. So this is popped up. And if you can see the pop-up. So all we have to do now is approve the transaction, and we would have minted your NFT on-chain. Oh yeah, so it's been created, right? Ooh, you can see that on the screen. So guys, I have the Gary V, and hopefully I'm going to burn this because I want Gary V to, I'll probably put it on. So you can either see it on your collection or you can share it on Twitter. So what we're going to do is see it in our collection. So when you're setting up your Phantom wallet, right, they give you a 12-word seed phrase. I think it's 12 or 14, depending on, it could be anything, but a 12 to 14-word seed phrase. So basically, that is your wallet. In an application that can hold a wallet on Solana, if you might be able to put that in and it pops up. So what you want to do with that seed phrase, preferably, you know, don't list it on any digital platform. I know it seems rather easy to just copy and paste it, you know, like 100 Sol sent to my wallet. I know, like you know, you might think you just want to copy and paste it or put it in like your, what would I call it? Sorry guys, just trying to like put it in your notepad or something. Like you want to make it so easy. But that's our advice against that, because a couple ways hackers can get into your stuff, right? So if you use a MacBook, you're probably connected to your iCloud on your phone and your Mac and your laptop. So if they get access to that iCloud, they can easily get into your notes and get your seed phrase. Another thing is that I've forgotten what it's called, but you see how I'm sharing my screen, right? Some hackers get able to, like, you know, do a bit of social engineering, getting access into your computer, and really they are able to like screen record your whole computer. So imagine you going through a couple of things, and they see your seed phrase, right? And another thing, right, with your seed phrase, never put it up in any pop-up. So depending, you can have a system, right, and you go to a website and they're like, oh, you know, you need to update something or you need to like get this done. Just put your seed phrase here. Never do that. You know, there's no website will ever ask you for your seed phrase. So you never want to do that. So my preference, right, and what I do, right, is I write it on a journal or like a notebook. And I could write it in 5 or 6 different journals, depending on, so that in case one gets missing, I can find it, you know, somewhere else. So please be very protective about your seed phrase. You know, take care of it like you would a baby. Use the own. Let me see if I can sell, right? Because we want to look at different ways. So sell a limited copy or copies of a single master NFT. Sell unlimited copies of a single master NFTs. You know, you want to go through all this shared, you know, all these particular things to really know what fits you. For preference, there's also the tiered auction. Participants get unique rewards based on their leaderboard ranks. There's also selling an existing item in your NFT collection, including master NFT. So how many participants can win in the auction? So you have, let's say you have just one participant can win in the auction. You continue. So each row represents a tier. You can choose the winning spot. Tier 1, select item. So for this, right, it's the same process. So if you had a couple of NFTs, right, you know, how many copies you want? If you had a couple of NFTs that you wanted to sell within an auction, you could also, you know, really list them this way. For this, you can just continue to review. And for this, you can start the bidding price, right? So you can, so depending on your collection, right, you can start that. I want to start this tier auction of this NFT, maybe with 0.2 sold. Or, you know, depending on you, like if you're people, you can start it with 1,000 Solana or 10,000 Solana. You know, but getting there slowly, gradually, build your audience, allow the barrier for entry to get into your work and people to start sharing your work. You know, at first, just a little bit easy as you begin to grow. And it's auction, right? So more people can bid and bid. So you could do, that's why I talked about community and, you know, you could be hosting a drop party, you know, you can invite me, I love your art, probably mint it, you know, so you can start with maybe even one soul. And you can say all bids must fall within the price increment. So how do you want the bids to increase? Like everybody bidding. So you can say maybe 0.2, you know, and you continue. So you want to set how long the auction will last for. So you can have it in minutes, you can have it for a couple of days, you know, depending on what your marketing strategy, because now this is all about marketing, right? You want to know how fast are you guys going to get my work, you know, and because the auction wouldn't be up for too long. You can have it in minutes, right? You're really, really big, you know, you're like people big, you know, put it in 10 minutes, right? Whoever misses out, missing out. And so like for hours, let's say you say, I'm going to put this up for 10 hours. The final phase of the auction will begin when there's more time left on time. Any bids placed during the final phase will extend the time. So you want to set the gap time, right? So maybe how, when it happens, like when a new bid comes, how long will that last for? Maybe you say, oh, I want that to last for like, maybe like 20 minutes. You say in order for winners to move up in the auction, they must place a bid that's at least presented higher than the next bid. So just put about 10%, yeah, maybe 10 to 5%, or maybe 50%. So just a couple of things you work around, really play around with it. And this is an optional fixed price that non-winners will pay for your participation NFT. So if you wanted to give people a participation NFT, right? So you like, this is the main NFT, but this is participation. Because you participated, you could win, get this. So how much will they pay? And think about this, right? Because every time they put in their Solana, they've entered a smart contract with your collection. They are either going to get the NFT or, you know, get it back. So I'm just going to like, I'm going to continue to review because there's no participation NFT. So you're like, hey guys, you ain't getting shit. Only one person is getting one thing, you know. So it's the whole process, right? So there's two simple processes. You know, you can do a fixed amount or you can do an auction. So one artists preferably want to do an auction, right? So that people, you know, the highest bidder wins. And you know, you publish the auction similar to how you publish everything. Yo, voila. Guys, congratulations. My auction is live. So you can go to auctions and see. So now, guys, if you want to bid for my Gary V, Bob, if you want to own it, you can go to vend.holaplex.com. The bid is currently started at 1 Solana. Highest bidder wins. Sold. Who's buying my NFT? So guys, this is pretty much it, right? You know, and it's yours. You know, you could share it. You could you know, when that popped up, you could share it. You could tell people about it. You can tell people we've started. You know, these are just some of the benefits of, you know, your own space, right? You know, is that it is yours. It is your marketplace. You do not need anybody. So I'm going to talk about another marketplace, right? There are a couple of them, right? There's exchange.art, exchange.art, and there's Hosue. So the reason I picked these two platforms is that, yeah, they have collectibles, but they also have a space for you to really just sell as an artist. So you can create your NFT, you can create your collection. You want to create your NFT, so I'm just going to go towards SoulC. So you can connect your wallet. So I want to create NFT. So this is a simple way, right? On SoulC, you upload a JPEG, animated preview, artwork file. You put the title, you put the description, you put the short description, you put the full description. So as an artist, depending on, like you said, your description also matters. If you can speak to the right person based on your description, it works. You can put your royalties as well. So royalties on secondary sales, number from 0 to 50. You can add your traits, right? So color, red, things like that. You just put here red to be the background. You get similar to how we added traits on the on Holaplex is how you want to add this as well. So look at this. You cannot edit your NFT after minting. Make sure all information is correct. So guys, you can't. Once it's on chain, you can't edit it. So really go through this and this. Another good platform I've seen that is really trying to curate artwork for one-of-one artists is Exchange.art, right? So what they do is that they have this created spot whereby you can see frags and balls, broken nails. They also have curations, right? And they have like how you can search, right? Also, Afrobubble is listed here. Say if you want it, you could also, get your Afrobubble on Exchange.art. You could scope one here. So, and what they do for you is that they enable you to create. So you can connect your wallet, same way. You want to sell, offer, create. Also, yeah, and depending if the collection is verified, it will be verified, but it all depends on you, right? So these are the NFTs in this wallet at the moment, right? So because they are minted, you can sell them. So another thing you can do, right, is that you can also mint your collection on Holaplex. Mint it with your wallet, put a very cheap price, mint it into your wallet, then you can bring them to these marketplaces as well. Although you don't necessarily have to do that because you can also just put it direct, right?
So we have a question from Deji. Which of these platforms? Okay. I'm sorry. Which of these platforms is the best for starters, SoulC or Holaplex?
So for a starter, right, I would recommend Holaplex, and the reason is this, right? Like you can put your work on SoulC as well, but like I said, Holaplex you have more control over it. So your ability to sell it is your ability to really just communicate your value, get into rooms, share your artwork, get into communities, put it on Afrobubble. Like I myself, I'm a collector, right? So if I like your art, I'm most likely collecting it. So it's all that space, and you sort of control it, right? So it's now dependent on your activity. So I know, like you're in the main sect. So you can, hey guys, I just listed this, man. This is my first one of one, and somebody could sweep it up. You get so that there's more control over that. You can also list it on SoulC if Holaplex is a bit too complicated and just easily, and still tell people, oh, go and get it on SoulC. But I find it more personal when it's on your Holaplex store, right? I just, I don't know, like this is just me coming from the aspect of the collector's mindset, is that I think I find it a little bit more personal, but I know that this is your store, this is your art, and this, you're trying to build something over time. It makes me realize that maybe you're not just trying to sell art for art, you're going to be there for a sustained period of time. And that's also important, right? In terms of what collectors look at, is that they're looking for people that will, sort of create a mark in this stage. They want to see a level of consistency over time. So it doesn't matter whether the collection is even being sold or even if it goes out on an auction, right? But over time, you keep on building, you keep on expressing your artistic brilliance, and you're probably going to see somebody that likes it. So my personal preference to get started. So as a one-for-one artist, it sort of differentiates you, right? Because you're not just on SoulC. There are some collectors that probably hate the user experience of SoulC. So my advice is like, hit it up on Holaplex, great technology, it's personal, it's your own store. And a whole lot about art it's more about your personality and how personal it is with the collector and yourself in terms of that approach. So for me, Holaplex, right? So you want to reach out to them as well and say, this is what you're trying to do. Like, you know, always send DM and they could put you on the spotlight, especially if your work is amazing. So that's how, you know, you could probably get ahead. There are not too many one-of-one collectors, one-of-one artists. So this could be a space where you shine, just because it sort of differentiates from what everybody is seeing, which is basically PFP, collectibles, like all these things you're seeing on my screen now, right? So you can really just, you know, grind it out with. So guys, we've talked about a couple of things, right? Setting up the Phantom wallet, the advantages of Solana as a platform for yourself. Phantom wallet is phantom.app, easily, you know, you could set it up, protect your seed phrase. We talked about the why Solana. I talked about certain things like, because it's pretty new within the NFT space, it means that you don't have too much competition, especially as a one-for-one artist. So you could really shine in the spotlight early on compared to other chains that could be had. Now, and so meaning, and the good thing, right, is that if you grow with the platform, if you grow with the blockchain, Solana blockchain, over time, I'm telling you, you'll probably be like, you know, the top echelon artist in the space, especially for the fact that you can create a niche as an Afro-inspired artist, an African artist, and you're like, oh, like this are like the first five, you know? Because if you look at the Ethereum, there are a couple of guys that have been there, like, you know, that they know them, like case study, Osinachi. He's been doing crypto art since 2017. So you look at the success, right? It's not necessarily, you know, the artwork. The artwork is perception, right? It's what people, the value is basically based on people's perception of its value and your also perception, right? Depending on what you've done. But what people look at in terms of value, especially in the space, right, is, you know, how consistent you are over time. You know, we've seen you at the beginning and you're still here. You know, people get inspired just by that because that's a story in its own way and format. So that's something you always want to think about, right? You might think about, oh, things are not happening as fast now, but trust me, if you maintain and you're consistent within a space, you begin to grow, you know, a bit of a community around you, a bit of people that appreciate your art, that love your art, you know, that get to vote you for first place, like, or second place or third place, like, you know, some of the winners here. It's pretty much that, right? Is that you join the community, you met with people, your art is also good. Like, they'll resonate with you first before others. And that is why the popular, if you look at the Afrobubble contest, like the most popular people, the people that got people to popularly vote for them, you know, only number 9, which was Vavasco, and Okay and Zeus, which was number 6, were present. The other people were as a result of being part of the community. So if you look at it, like Ella winning first place is as a result of being part of the Afrobubble community. It's not, it wasn't a popularity thing. It was as a result of, she had very good art. Like, people loved her art. So being able to also still participate in the final just made it a no-brainer for that massive, you know, like the massive amount of votes. You know, people looked at other things, okay, you know, certain things. Like, that's how it works, guys. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and tell you, oh, like, you have to be, like, your art has to be dancing, has to be somersaulting. No, I'm not gonna do that for you. I'm gonna tell you that you're going to have to, with your brilliance, you're gonna have to embed yourself into communities, because that's how things happen. That's how you find people that love what you're doing. And the good thing about these communities is that you have a couple of people, right? There are people who are collectors. You know, these are people that if they see an art they like, they buy it. There are people who are flippers. These people might not necessarily care about one-of-ones. They're just looking for art they can buy now and sell later, or sell almost immediately. Yeah, and also feel free to ask the community, right? Every question you have that you need, you know, there are so many people within, especially like the Afrobubble, that are well versed, you know, and there's always somebody willing to help. if there's one thing I learned in life, when you ask, there's always somebody willing to help and take it upon their head to make sure they help you. So always be open to asking for help. It goes back to the conversation about vulnerability, right? Is that if you do not ask for help, nobody will think you need help. When you're open to asking for help, you might find the right person to put you on the right track. So always feel free to ask the community, ask what can I do better. And for training, also ideas and things you would need as an artist, right? You can put in the ideas and suggestion sector. So like even in terms of us building a marketplace, right? What do you think will be beneficial to you as an artist so that we can think of that as a feature while building this as well, so that it's easy plug and play. So these are just some of the couple of things, Then you can also do a bit of like a collection size, and we'll talk more about that and how to get started. Because we're setting up the Afrobubble launchpad. So the launchpad will be tailored to collectibles, right? If you wanted to drop a collectible for 10,000, not necessarily 10,000, but like, a sizable collection to a few people that you want to give access to more of your collectibles or at a discounted price. Or like that gives them the entry into like auctioning for your artwork, depending on what you want to do. So that's another conversation for another day. Congrats again, everybody. Congrats again. Glad to have everybody here. And yeah, like as James said, we have that. And the Maganda is still on its way, guys. It's not yet. There's a whole lot we have. There's a whole lot on the background that we're working. It's not just for artists, but for everybody within this space, right? It's our utmost goal to bring Afro-inspired art and stories to the forefront of the world. Whether that's African American, Black, depending, like people of color, people that look like us, and making sure that we present our value, because that's something we've had that nobody else can take away from us. Compared to the art out there, like countries have always come to Africa to try and take their arts, their works, and so we have that level of brilliance and that level of quality, right? So we must be proud of that, and we must believe that we can, sort of maximize the opportunities present in this space. That's one thing I'm bullish about. That's one thing I'll forever be bullish about, and just empowering this ecosystem in any way possible, to get everybody smiling and everybody living a day happy. So guys, on that note, I don't know if there's no questions. Whoa.